1971. We woke up in a different world, where the Cold War ended along with the Vietnam carnage. All because of the Dome. The Dome. A territory full of anomalous artifacts, phenomena, and organisms. We still don't know what it is. An alien city? Some kind of a testing ground or storage? Whatever it is, no living thing trapped under the Dome can escape it. Yet even this did not stop the research. The major powers created the Cronus Megacorporation to develop and explore the Dome. Its secrets became a lucrative business. The Spire station was built on top of the Dome to export the artifacts and import supplies and personnel. The city of Crystal Sands grew at the foot of the Dome, eventually becoming a major transportation hub. All this required thousands of employees, and there was no shortage of candidates. Romantics, pragmatists, and adventurers of all trades swarmed recruiting centers around the globe, seeking jobs at Cronus. You were one of those people. In 1976, your application was approved, and you went under the Dome towards the future. Whether a good one or a bad one, only time will tell. A guy wearing thick spectacles thrusts out a sweaty hand.
Monty James, Silverwing.
He glances down at your badge.
Ah, it's you. I found your file extremely interesting, and your CV, wonderful. Inspiring, really. When I had the opportunity to look over the files of my future colleagues, I couldn't resist. I don't want to sound boastful, but silver level clearance has its advantages.
Monty winks. James spreads his arms regretfully.
You misunderstood. I don't carry the physical copies with me, but I did get a chance to familiarize myself with them. Ask away.
Monty presses his plump hands to his chest, as if in prayer.
Tamako Kimura from Osaka, a physiologist. She's young, but already has a PhD.
James moves so close, his lips are all but brushing your ear.
Just between you, me, and that lamppost, Kimura has an older sister, Ayaki. She's currently in jail, and Tamako herself spent 2 years in prison, but that is strictly classified.
The silver smiles and pats the blue on the shoulder. As the man turns to him, Monty raises his fist in some kind of a weird salute.
Gagarin, Sputnik, Cosmos, Mir, Druzhba, Krasen, SSSR.
He says in Russian. The blue's mustache twitches and his face wrinkles with a beaming smile.
Comrade Batanin is from the Soviet Union. He's a highly qualified construction engineer. Took part in planning the Spire. He's no spy. Supposedly.
Monty explains, turning to you.
Elsa Olofsson, police captain, City of Stockholm. Former captain, to be precise. Dismissed from service because of a conflicting article. Yeah, conflicting. Let's call it that.
The Silver says in hushed tones. The Black gives him an unpleasant look, but says nothing.
This is,
Monty adjusts his glasses and peers closely at the Orange's badge.
Ah, Quentin Bisley. Grand Theft Auto 3 times in one B&E. He was about to go down for 12 years, so he filed for the Clean Slate program. And look at that. They accepted him right away.
The Silver shakes his head in disapproval and perplexity.
Sorry, classified.
He's plainly flattered by your question.
Harvard. Then I worked in the economics department at Supercolor. They produced a special television model for commuter buses. Did you know that? That was my research. What else? Well, I like sports. Water aerobics is a sport, isn't it? I don't smoke and never eat after 6 p.m. Just saying, these kinds of things aren't in the file.
So saying, Monty abruptly falls silent. The Orange is dressed in a new jumpsuit. The shiny badge on his chest reads, Quentin Bisley, Laborer. He's side-eyeing the screen skeptically. Despite his tired, grim expression, his gaze is open and friendly. However, the general impression is unmistakable. There's something frightening about Bisley. The Orange's face stretches into a broad smile, bearing his dentures to the world.
Like everyone, duh. In a black car, under guard. There's other guys, too. The ones who go through the front door.
He nods at the black-winged woman beside him. Her nose wrinkles in displeasure, but she says nothing. Quentin raises his hands to examine the devices.
They call them humane handcuffs. How about that? Truth is, there ain't nothing humane about them. They zap you real hard the moment you get your hands on a gun. But they sure look nice.
Bisley lowers his hands again and smirks. A tall woman is watching an ad playing on the monitor, arms crossed. The polished to a shine badge on her black overalls reads, Elsa Olofsson, Security Service. She glances at you and offers her hand in a businesslike manner.
Greetings. Please take all necessary precautions. By that I mean, don't turn your back on him.
Elsa nods at the Orange. Elsa's eyes spark angrily.
Are you saying you will take full responsibility for the possible consequences of that order? Was that a nod? Does that...
Olofsson turns to the Orange, produces a key, and unlocks his cuffs in a smooth, well-practiced motion. Olofsson eyes your silvery jumpsuit and snorts.
Really? I thought you'd be the one to tell me about it. After all, your department has access to all the orders and personal files.
Her gaze shifts to the Silver standing opposite and then back to you before she turns indignantly to the window. Bisley is bopping his head from side to side.
What?
A man with a mustache and a blue jumpsuit is standing at the window, studying the construction site below through the occasional break in the clouds. His badge reads Igor Patan, Planner. The blue taps on the glass with one finger and gestures you to come and take a look. Seems like he doesn't speak English. Using sign language, mimicry, and all of your artistic talent, you're able to communicate with the planner. Once he's sure you're watching, Patanin points up in the direction of Spire Station, from which you departed a few minutes ago. He sketches the outline of the station on a broad, foggy section of glass. Once he's finished, the blue turns to you with a delighted expression. The blue begins to mark up his diagram with a series of footnotes and numbers. Turns out the station's ring diameter is a bit more than 1,500 meters. Its height above the dome is 317 meters. And the total height of the spire, including the loading docks, is nearly 720 meters. With a series of confident strokes, the planner delineates the capsule's movement scheme, drivetrain, and massive hydraulic brakes on the glass. This time, Igor is quite laconic. He pauses, then confidently writes cargo and personnel in block letters, and draws an arrow pointing downward. Beside it, he writes relics, and draws an arrow pointing up. His R is turned back to front. The engineer stops you with a gesture, and after rummaging through his pockets, offers you a small candy. There is a picture of a crayfish on the white wrapper. Is this candy crayfish flavored? It's surprisingly spongy and tooth-achingly sweet. You can only wonder what it has to do with crayfish. The thin, pale young woman is sitting at the window, leaning against the illuminator. The glass is slightly fogged with her breath. She turned.
We've crossed the border. No way back now. Even traveling by the funicular wasn't so thrilling.
The white presses small hands to her blushing cheeks.
You were thinking, why have no children been born under the dome? I've got a working hypothesis, but I'm not ready to share it yet.
She says softly, as if answering a question you didn't ask. Kimura peers through the glass in the direction you indicate.
Oh, that's the aircraft that crashed into the dome during the first expedition. I believe that's a wing fragment, and there's some white canvas. What do you think that is? Maybe a parachute?
The white shakes her head, bewildered.
I just can't believe it. It's all true. We're on our way to meet the future.
Kimura shoots you a surprised look.
You're familiar with the details of the briefing, right? To put it simply, the dome is a selectively permeable environment.
The white draws an invisible hemisphere in the air.
Inorganic objects may exit the dome without difficulty, but any living creature dies if transported back to the outside world. That's why we're all stuck here for an indefinite period of time.
Kimura is eyeing the dome's mesh, glittering in the sunlight.
Supposedly, it's something to do with the atmospheric composition, but it's a weak theory. The difference of the air within the dome is so insignificant as to fall within the margin of error. Or to put it more simply, there is no difference.
She shoots a quick glance at the silver and lowers her voice.
I heard a rumor, or a conspiracy theory, that we can leave the dome at any time. We've simply been told we can't. If you ever decide to test this hypothesis, don't forget to leave me something in your will.
Kronos Foundation presents gleaming, futuristic, state-of-the-art cities straight from the pages of science fiction. Well-paid, safe employment, career advancement opportunities, and a world-class social safety net. Noble and intellectually stimulating work in state-of-the-art laboratories. We're thrilled to welcome you to the Dome. Please hold on to the handrail and prepare for landing.
Stopping by the door's porthole, you watch as the ground slowly approaches. It looks brown-black through the tinted glass and smoky blue at the horizon. It almost seems like the clouds are pulling apart there. You can discern the regular pattern of a settlement in the mists, hanging over the northern section. If this is the city, it's nowhere near as miraculous as the brochure. Just a few concrete buildings surrounded by sheds. It resembles the hab pods of a space colony in a sci-fi film. Yet, the scale is impressive. In only 5 years, a small civilization has arisen from these bleak sands to tackle mankind's greatest project. The Blues and Oranges did their share of the physical labor, but the main credit belongs to the brilliant administrators from Silverwing. At least, that's what you were told during the pre-departure briefing. Just as you're about to move away from the window, you notice a whirlwind beginning to form above the ochre plain. The gathering storm drifts unhurriedly above the desert, a crown of green lightning flashing at its core. Clearly no ordinary weather phenomenon. It must be one of those anomalies. You freeze by the window, unable to avert your gaze. The outlines of the landing site, blurred by clouds of dust, appear behind the greenish glass of the porthole. The capsule shudders as the braking devices engage.
Come here. Come on now, or you'll miss everything.
A cheerful man in a white lab coat grabs you by the sleeve. A badge reading Ludovico Nuzzi, scientific analyst, export department, dangles loosely on his clean uniform, which still smells pungently of washing powder.
Look over there.
He points upward with a sharp, wide gesture and hands you his field binoculars. The scientist looks blankly at you.
Ah, this? This?
He lets out a blaring laugh. Ludovico points at the building behind him.
I work in Concord Station, categorizing relics. My job is to classify them by rarity. Then the Blues package them, Silvers issue the documentation, and Oranges move them to the cargo capsule. Just like the one you arrived in.
Nuzzi points upward.
Then the capsule takes the relics way up there, all the way to the spire, then to crystal sands by the funicular. They get auctioned off and turned into money. It's not like I endorse this, but we all like ourselves a good paycheck, right?
He offers you his binoculars once again. You raise the binoculars to your eyes. Under fourfold magnification, the whirling cloud above the rust-colored plains looks even stranger. Its core glows with flickering green light and flashes rhythmically, and that rhythm seems to form a complicated pattern. Nazi bends close to your ear.
Fascinating. Do you want me to bring some filters? If we intercept the red and blue spectrums, we'll see something amazing. It's like a signal, some kind of message. I don't know.
Ludovico laughs unnervingly and snatches the binoculars from your hands. With the binoculars raised to his eyes, he minutely adjusts the focus.
It's a massive whirlwind north of Concord, and not merely some desert sandstorm. That's an anomaly. I hope it lasts long enough for me to make a proper observation.
Nazi looks from you to the capsule and to the landing. He flings his arms up.
Oh, mi scusi. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. You'd better get going or you'll be late for check-in. Your colleagues are already inside. Yeah, the storm is growing stronger.
The what?
What do you want?
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
Have a good one.
Good day to you. It was nice chatting.
Hello, come up to the desk,
Your
please.
Selectron has not been properly authorized. Please visit the reception.
A tall receptionist watches you from behind his desk with a bored, haughty look. Noticing your silvery uniform, he offers up his best artificial smile.
Welcome. My name's Dean Rayhead. It's my job to help our new employees settle in. Please wait a moment or two while I register you.
The administrator slaps himself on the forehead.
I almost forgot the regulation pre-registration greeting. Just a second.
Rayhead produces a reel-to-reel tape recorder from beneath the desk, rewinds the tape to the beginning, and presses play. The speakers explode with a harsh, crackling sound, over which the tick-tick of a metronome slowly grows louder. Solemn music begins to play, and the administrator's face takes on a serious expression.
Dear employee, on behalf of the Cronus Foundation, I, Administrator Dean Rayhead, welcome you to your new life under the dome.
The administrator clears his throat and continues.
By joining our company, you choose the path of science and progress. You are among mankind's best, and we ask that you live up to this.
Dean squints down at the monitor.
Deserve this title. Do your job honestly. Obey the law. Respect your colleagues and...
The music fades, and the administrator finishes his speech.
And together we will build the best possible future for all mankind.
Dean puts the tape recorder away.
Now that we're done with the official greeting, I'll register you and upgrade your Selectron. Okay?
Dean's hands hover over the keyboard. He gives you a nod. You squeeze into the narrow window, lean over the reception desk, and key your data into the database. After entering Proceed, you return to your seat. Dean Rayhead scans the computer screen.
So your position in the waiting list was 63,784. You've been assigned to Magellan Station. A special bus will bring you there after a series of briefings. Please pass me your Selectron so I can update the firmware.
Dean snaps the docking port of your pass to a recess in the casing of his computer. The administrator returns your Selectron.
So, colleague, you now have first-level clearance, which gives you access to the archives on the administrative level, the warehouses, and basically everywhere else except the secure facilities. You also have admin privileges at most terminals.
Dean continues.
All new employees have a short list of tasks to perform on arrival. Do you want to hear all the details, or...
Rayhead nods and points at the ceiling.
First, you need a set of combat gear. Talk to Sidney Maynard, he'll give you everything.
Dean extends his second finger.
Second, weapons. Ms. Margarita Takachenko is the clerk at the armory. After she dispenses your firearm, you'll need to head to the training zone for a brief weapons handling exam.
The administrator straightens his third finger.
According to the latest regulations, all employees must attend a briefing on psi abilities. Apply to instructor Andriy Mihai.
Dean extends his fourth finger and looks at you meaningfully.
Did I tell you about the combat and tactical training? The fourth step is to visit instructor Winston Botherby. And finally, science is the overarching purpose behind everything we do here. Go to Professor Van Alden to learn how to study relics, avoid anomalies, and catalog scientific knowledge. This training is mandatory for all wings, not just white.
Dean finishes. Dean catches himself.
Oh, and when you're done with your trainings, proceed to the waiting room. From there, you'll travel to Magellan by bus.
The administrator looks up at you again. He reaches for the tape recorder, but thinks better of it.
Protocol calls for a little welcoming preamble, but dash it all, that's nonsense. Welcome to Concord Station.
As he's about to turn away, Dean suddenly remembers something.
Oh yes, I sent your mail to your Kairos. Check your new messages. Well, that's all, I think.
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
Dean looks up from his screen and gives you a...
Mr. Rayhead, would you bring me a... It was nice chatting.
Remember, our honest work will make the world a better place. World a better place. Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
Welcome. We are Cronus, your reliable guide to the world of the future.
What do you want? Have a good one.
Behind the storage counter, you see a small, neat guy. His gingery hair shines with something like brilliantine. His badge says, Sidney Maynard, storekeeper.
Oh, what a lovely angel! Came down from the heavens. Good morning, my lady. Is it something urgent? By the way, my name's...
Never taking his gaze off you, he reaches under the counter, loses his balance, and clips his chin on the desktop as he falls. A full minute later, he reappears, grimly rubbing his jaw with a thick logbook. He thumbs through it for a long period, squinting nearsightedly. Eventually, he gives up the struggle. The silver finally stops and pins down a particular page with his finger.
This is your first uniform requisition, right? You can also purchase any equipment you need for the desert directly from me.
Maynard smiles at you over his glasses, practically stripping you naked with his gaze.
Your voice is enchanting, my lady. I could listen to it forever. But right now, you need to listen to me. I am going to give you some instructions.
Sidney fiddles with his hairstyle.
So, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Life under the dome can be dangerous. You may get shot, spill acid on yourself, get electrocuted, or suffer the effects of a dangerous anomaly. You may also freeze to death or get fried. That's why it's important to wear protective equipment when traveling outdoors. Of course, in hazardous situations, the equipment will get damaged, and the more it's damaged, the more often one has to repair it.
The silver steps back from his counter to indicate the repair kit box. He points back at the shelves behind him.
We've got repair kits for this gear. There are Blue Wing specialists ready to help you at any large base, of course, but they're not always available, so you'd better learn how to use...
Sidney leans on the counter again and throws you a lazy wink.
No one would ever say no to a cutie pie like you, though. Those are all the instructions, by the way.
The silver disappears into the back for a while. Unfolding the package, Maynard shows you a silver suit jacket with coal black shirt and dark trousers. Sidney studies the way the light reflects from the cloth as he lovingly smooths the jacket with one hand.
The Silver Wing uniform is fit for field conditions, just in case. But something this fine, you should treat...
He raises a finger.
One more important thing. In accordance with Order 16-225, helmets and gloves are not issued, but they're available for purchase from me. Please bear in mind that a full set includes headgear or a mask, jacket, trousers, gloves, and boots.
Sidney hands you the package.
Here's your uniform. Enjoy.
Sidney waggles his eyebrows.
Anything up to a star in the sky, my dear. Here.
Sidney leans on the counter.
Honestly, lady, I'd sell you this entire place and give you an incredible discount if I could. But I'm not the one who sets the prices.
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit. Remember, our honest work will make the world a better place. World a better place. Remember, our honest work will make the world a better place. World a better place.
The silver follows you.
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
Anything urgent, Mr. Krachkov?
Katarzyna, did you mark it as Class 1 again, instead of 2? Look, here's the scanner data. It says the relic is a scientific device.
Wait, but it's still Class 1. I'm not going to violate protocol.
The smell of good tobacco wafts off this tall porch. The woman fixes her coppery hair with one hand. Margarita thumbs back a couple of pages. She glances at her Kairos, looks at you, snorts. The black returns a couple of minutes later with a big baton.
Here you go.
She swipes the baton through the air, then rolls it between her hands with clear satisfaction. Unperturbed, the black covers the weapon she's just put on the counter with her large, soft hand.
No, it is then. What would you like instead?
Handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
The woman snorts and fluffs her red curls.
I don't know what you see in those
Margarita disappears into the back of the arm. Tukachenko returns a couple of minutes later, carrying something that looks more like a toy. The weapon seems weightless as she spins it around her finger.
I ain't telling you shit about this thing, 'cause that's exactly how much I know. Laser, schmazer, cadmium battery, fiberglass body, blah, 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 blah. You probably know more about it than I do. Here.
Margarita drags on her pipe and releases a puff of thick, yellow smoke.
I see you know the rules and won't cause problems.
Takachenko bites down on the stem of her pipe.
Are you kidding me? I'm a different breed. One that doesn't understand.
The black regards the Andromeda suspiciously.
Fuck it. If it breaks, bring it back and I'll trade it in for another one. There was a little cloth in the box it came in for cleaning the lens.
The armorer shrugs, puffing indifferently on her pipe.
It's the least I could do. We have a requisition list from the Silvers. For free, you receive only rubbish. If you want the real deal, check out the weaponry shop.
Leaning over the counter, the black points somewhere off to one side.
Now it's time for your training. But before the training zone, go see that wizard guy with his toothpicks. Be careful around him, though. Don't let him pitch you a line.
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
Well, you've got quite an aura.
A lean silver with... As you approach, he flashes. Something really weird happens. All the paper clips, pencils, scattered toothpicks, and bits of trash float up from the table and you thrust your hand forward, and your outspread fingers emit barely visible sparks of energy. Pencils. The silver sticks out his lower lip as if to say, not bad, and gives you a thumbs up. The objects clatter back onto the table.
Here for the briefing, huh? Shall we get to it?
He takes the cigar out of his mouth and exhales. The silver props his elbows on the table.
Anyway, here's the deal. It's more profitable for people with a high psyche to study psionics. Give me your hand.
Not waiting for an answer, he grabs your hand with... He jerks his hand back at once, then touches you again, carefully and distrustfully.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. You know you've got one hell of a talent, huh? Slimy little bastard, you. You want to take my office, I know. But you sure got some power there.
The silver takes a thin glove covered in talc from his desk and passes it to you.
Look, a glove, right? But it isn't just a glove. This is an ooh mama, hold me tight glove. It takes energy from your noggin, your psyche, and pew, concentrates it.
He counts off on his fingers.
Learn psionics. Put on the glove. Transform energy into the necessary shape. That's the whole briefing. Simple? Simple. Now to your question.
In reply, Andrei jumps up from his armchair and thrusts his face close to yours, exhaling foul cigar smoke.
Quickly, think of a number, huh?
The unexpected question calls a bunch of different numbers to mind. The silver looks into your eyes.
3, 14, 13, 76.
He easily names every number you've got in mind. The silver takes a pull at his cigar and releases a self-important...
Psionics. It's a gift for all of us. The forefathers took off someplace. Poof, gone. Only the dome remains. And this... psionics, huh?
He rocks back in his armchair, puffing on his cigar. Mihai spreads his dark hands. Toothpicks hover around his head in a kind of halo.
Scientists say everyone has an organic skill called psyche. You have it, I have it, everyone has it, uh-huh. Big psyche, you got talents. Small psyche, no talents. You'll need to carry a lighter all your life.
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
I'll complain to the Silvers about that idiot. They'll take the appropriate measures.
I hate those oranges. What the hell do they break?
An engineer in a bright blue jacket is tinkering.
You're a newcomer, right? It's a straight-up open house here today.
The technician slaps the door with one hand.
You have to wait until I'm done. Some orange jammed up the lock with chewing gum just for a laugh.
Penkovsky grunts angrily.
I wish I could. I'm gonna have to disassemble, clean, and reassemble it to get it working. It's work I don't need. And all thanks to some idiot.
Maxime extracts a thin, sharp, precision probe from behind his ear and
Though there's another way. You want to learn something about picking locks? It's a useful skill in all sorts of situations.
he looks at you, the blues getting excited.
All right, looky here.
Penkovsky presses his pick lock, and an odd device resembling a hybrid of a screwdriver and a can opener into your hand.
Using a mechanical pick lock is easy peasy. No special skill required. They wear out after a few locks. While the old-fashioned kind is another thing entirely. Cheap, one use. But one has to know how to use it right. That's a tool for a master.
Maxime, he gives you a quick lesson on how to pick a lock.
By the way, you can carry your tools in your belt. It's much handier to have them right there.
Penkovsky.
Actually, finding tools under the dome is no problem at all. There are even devices for hacking terminals and so on.
The blue solemnly raises his index finger.
And one more thing. Always use brand name stuff if you can. Groovy produces good kits. Modus and Supercolor do too. They've all got fat contracts with Cronus, so they care about quality.
He looks at the door again.
Damn these locks. Though I'd rather be doing this than fixing hab pods.
Penkovsky gives you a patronizing look.
Because they're poorly made, warped from the heat, and the filters aren't worth a damn. The modules were constructed by marketing managers, not engineers. Building a city in the desert was also their idea. This project is all about PR. Cronus wants to show the world how tough they are.
Attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage...
I repeat, get a lockpick and attach it to your utility belt. And then, apply it to the door. Yes, apply is the proper word. You're doing great. All right, off you go. I'll keep working on this lock because of that orange. Hey-ho.
Tkachenko grunts a greeting without removing. Tkachenko opens.
Remember, our honest work will make the world a better place. World a better place. Attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
Welcome Under the Dome, an amazing excursion to a world of new technology and the riddles of an ancient civilization. Listen to this information, useful. Glad to meet you.
Attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
Bye-bye.
You see a tall sign. The man turns at your footsteps. He's holding a paper clipboard and a pencil. He glances from you to the glittering watch on his wrist.
I want us to respect one another's time. Please speak loudly, clearly, and to the point. You must be the newcomer.
Finished with his unusual greeting, he offers. The scientist puts the clipboard aside. He shows you his watch dial.
According to the rules of this briefing, I have to touch on a large number of topics. Therefore, I will do so very briefly. Do not interrupt me. When I'm finished, I'll answer your questions. Within regulations, of course.
Sebastian produces his handheld and clicks some buttons.
I checked your scanner. It's working and is connected to the Minerva database. Everything you scan will earn you Kronos or Forefathers knowledge points.
The instructor watches you with displeasure.
Are you listening? Scan everything that might be of scientific interest. First of all, anomalies. They could be...
He places a canvas pouch in your hand.
This pouch is full of bolts. You can temporarily discharge an anomaly by throwing a bolt into it. It's primitive.
Van Olden pushes a button on his stopwatch.
So, my oral briefing fell within the allotted span of...
Sebastian snorts skeptically.
Oh, great. You're even ignorant of the basics. Minerva is a mainframe. The Minerva disk stores the database containing every piece of information about the Dome and the company's employees. It is...
The White scowls in annoyance.
Do you know anything at all? What did you come under the Dome for anyway? For scanning anomalies and relics, you receive Forefather points. Scanning the company's property and employees, living or dead, earns you Kronos knowledge points.
He explains with a sagacious expression.
You can exchange knowledge points for medication and equipment as part of the volunteer research program. Are you ready for the next part? The clock is ticking.
The instructor taps his watch, meaning Sebastian pulls a scanner from his pocket.
I will demonstrate this only once.
Van Olden turns on the scanner and continues.
My advice is to scan anything that might be of scientific...
He turns the screen so you can see it.
The scanner automatically transmits data to the Minerva system, and you receive knowledge. You'll need some one-use stimulator injectors, bandages to stop bleeding, and anti-radiation agents and radio protectors, including ARAD-3.
The White... He produces a black-capped, transparent plastic jar out of his pocket.
According to protocol, you should have this medicine. I'll give it to you as soon as we proceed to the practical part of the briefing. Are you ready, by the way, or do you have any questions?
The researcher winces.
Why do I have to spell out every single thing for?
The scientist glances at his watch again.
You're within the time limit for questions. The next step is training in the artificial eco...
He rests one finger on the button in preparation to start the timer.
You're going to go downstairs and scan relics. I will be monitoring your progress. Please note there are several radioactive anomalies in the eco-zone. These are the same conditions you'll be working in the field. Radioactive...
He smoothly extracts a jar of yellow pills from his pocket.
Here's your...
Hey, first day under the dome? You feeling lost and scared? Worried about ravenous forefathers in the IRS? Something but don't know exactly what it is? Contact us. We're Silverwing. We know what you need better than you do. Yes, we know all about your needs because we're the ones who formed them. And now Hey, first day under the dome. You feeling lost and scared? Worried about ravenous forefathers in the IRS?
I don't know about you.
You need something but don't know exactly what it is? Contact us. We're Silverwing.
This is Victoria Legrand, and the Dome from the inside. See you next time.
Worried about ravenous forefathers in the IRS? You need something but don't know exactly what it is? Contact us. We're Silverwing.
Ladies and gentlemen,
this
please stand by for decontamination to end. Victoria.
careful around the anomalies. Touch one of them and you'll be injured. Toss a bolt at the anomaly to discharge it. Don't touch the relics with your hands, employee. Use your scanner. Radiation sickness will not add to your knowledge. Journal entry, a successful scanning attempt. You're doing all right so far. Go ahead. I'll keep an eye on you and make sure you don't screw it up. Journal entry, 2 objects scanned. And again, watch out for anomalies, touch one and you'll be injured. Journal entry, all 3 objects have been successfully scanned. Come upstairs and
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit. Remember, our honest work will be in a better place. No, a better place.
speak quickly.
Sebastian meets you on the platform. He clicks the stopwatch button, fixing the result time. The scientist turns back to his notes.
Not bad. One question. You observed several anomalies while scanning. Why do you think they appeared? I'd like to hear your opinion.
The scientist assumes a superior expression.
I knew you'd come up with something like that. I see you understand nothing about the...
He glances at the shimmering blue light in the eco-zone.
The truth is, we don't know the precise reason for these phenomenon either. We actually know nothing, no matter how much we try to convince ourselves otherwise.
Sebastian points a thin finger at the clustered lightning.
I personally believe that the anomalies are the dome's security mechanism. The ones you saw are relatively harmless, but there are different anomalies in the desert, phenomenon that toy with the human mind.
Van Olden clasps his hands behind his back.
I know you don't care, but I'll say it anyway. Scientists today are required to be wonder workers who can heal cancer with a wave of their hand and solve the secrets of the universe during their coffee break. For some reason, no one wants to understand.
The White's gaze strays back to his clipboard.
If something terrible happens under the dome one day, and I'm sure it will, science will protect no one. That is all.
Like a sci-fi story, but we aren't strangers to
And now I'm
sci-fi
offering you
here.
a- Hey!
The detailed plans are ready, and according to them, there will soon be a real resort city in the west with
Exactly
bars,
what it is.
casinos,
Contact us.
spas, and therapeutic saunas. I don't know about you, but I'm sure I'll come here in a year and we'll feel like a real.
Good day.
This is Victoria Legrand and the dome from the inside. See you next time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Dome from the Inside with me, Victoria Legrand. As you can see, there are endless sun pans in the western region behind me. The sun reflects blindingly from the sun, and the air is as dry as a nun's gusset. What an inhospitable...
Howdy.
Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit. Our honest work will make the world a better
Sipping
place.
a margarita right on this place. Sounds like a sci-fi story, but we aren't strangers to sci-fi here. The detailed plans are ready. According to them, there will soon be a real about you, but I'm sure I'll come here in a year and will feel like a real queen. This is Victoria Legrand.
Hello again.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the dome from the inside.
Hello again.
As you can see, there are endless salt pans in the western region behind.
A middle-aged black is Botherby frowns as you approach.
Your first act is being late for the briefing. Are you going to be late for your funeral as well?
The black looks you over.
Yes, I see the weapon received checkmark. Looks like you are fully prepared to disappoint me. You are prepared, right, employee?
Botherby leans over the counter and directs you to the... He raises his index finger.
The conditions in the training zone closely simulate those one would experience in the field.
Pulling a notepad from his pocket, the instructor jots down your name.
Your goal is to hit 3 targets. I'm going to monitor... Target hit. Can't help but say I'm stoked. My dear lady, the gun shoots in the same direction the muzzle's pointing. Please consider this information carefully. stoked.
Botherby nods grandly.
You made it through training without making a total fool of yourself. Congratulations. I'll send a report up the chain about your completely unanticipated success. You're dismissed.
But we aren't strangers to sci-fi here. The detailed plans are ready. And according to them, there will soon be a real resort city in the West. With bars, casinos, spas, and therapeutic saunas.
Hey, first day
I
under
don't
the
know
dome?
about you,
You
but
feeling
I'm
lost
sure-
and scared? Worried about ravenous forefathers in the IRS?
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
You need something but don't know exactly
This
what it
is
is.
Victoria
Contact us.
Glad to meet you.
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
See ya!
Hey, you're at it again, asshole.
Okay, you got me, Butch. Old habits. You know that.
Salutations.
No, Butch is right. I ain't gonna argue with him.
Course you ain't, you slime ball. If I find out you cheated, your mama will never see it.
None of our mothers will ever see any of us again.
See ya. What do you want? Come back again.
Relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
Hey, you. Yeah, you, lady. Hi there. See ya. you planning something sneaky? So not worth it. Are you planning something sneaky? So not worth it.
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
Listen to my brief education.
Transition station is erected.
Remember, our honest work will make the world
Forefathers
a better place.
exactly what it is. Contact us. Silverwing. We know what you need better than you do. Yes, we know all about
But we aren't strangers to
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit. Remember, our honest work will make the world a better place. World a better place.
We
Don't? You feeling lost and scared? Worried about ravenous forefathers and the IRS?
Dean looks up from his screen.
It's a pure engineering miracle.
We're Silverwing. We know what you need better than you do. Yes, we know all about your needs because we're the ones who formed them. And now I'm offering you a solution. Listen to Hey, first day under the dome? You feeling lost and scared? Worried about rabbits?
Glad to meet you.
We're Silverwing. We know what you need. Yes, we know all about it. And now I'm off on my session. Listen to my brief educational lecture and receive an illustrated leaflet. Don't worry, both the lecture and leaflet have already been paid for your future self.
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit. Remember, our honest work will make the world a better place. World a better place.
Bye-bye.
Ed, spit it out. I can see that something's bothering you.
Well, employee, please come here. There's an urgent task for you. What do you want?
Attention, attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of damage, your life will be forfeit.
The giant display glows welcoming. A gray old man with high he leans close to the camera, his glasses glittering.
My name is Martin Kingsley. I'm Chief Officer of Magellan Base.
He reaches for something out of... He marks one of the pages with a pencil.
Silverwing. Colleague, I'll be honest with you. It's crucial for me to know my managers. So I'm asking you straight. Why did you choose a career in our division?
The administrator jots down a word or Kingsley closes the file and folds his hands in front of him.
Thank you for your reply. I learned...
He assumes a serious expression.
When the dome was...
Kingsley drums his fingers on the unseen desk, his gaze focused somewhere beyond.
I see. You were enticed here by radio advertising, telefilms, and all those interviews, billboards, and every...
You can't make out his eyes behind the glare on his spectacles, but he seems to be staring directly at you.
Here's the truth. Nobody was waiting for us inside the dome. It's neither a treasury of technologies nor a cemetery of the ancients.
He looks back at your file.
I say, do...
Kingsley points at the camera.
You're from Silverwing. Special requirements are imposed upon you. You must direct others whilst having no real power. You must provide an illusion of might and well-being, and be honest and wise enough to reconcile your actions with your conscience.
Putting the folder aside, he sits back and stares at you in silence. Kingsley sighs quietly.
You were probably waiting for some boilerplate welcome speech, but I prefer to talk about real-world problems. Glad to meet you.
Martin nods slowly.
I apologize once again for this long-distance meeting. Now, as we don't have much time, I'd like to get to the point. I'm sure you're curious why you were taking off the bus to Magellan and brought here.
He moves closer to the camera. Kingsley's face freezes on screen.
I have an urgent mission for an employee of your background and qualifications. I'd have assigned someone from Magellan, but I'm short on personnel. That's why it has to be a newcomer.
Martin noisily clears his throat.
Maybe you've heard about Nashville Base. While preparing the materials for this mission, I came across a short documentary film about the...
The speakers produce a hollow click. Purple, the shadow of an airplane flies across a faded yellow desert. A cheery voice fills the room. Every day, the desert dims into the black of a chalkboard. White lines drawn by an invisible hand begin to... The narrator continues. By 1972, however, many important discoveries had come to light in a period of only a few months, and the construction of stationary research bases adjacent to the more promising objects began. Personnel moved into Ankara in May of 1972, and within half a year, Boston and Dessau were also brought into service, though the biggest discovery was yet to come. The picture changes to a chasm, suffused. The speaker's voice seems to come from a distance. In November of 1970, the camera glides through. The speaker continues. C-12 Nashville is an innovative research complex located atop the primary relic. The film abruptly cuts out, and Kingsley's face reappears.
The rest of this information is classified. Hopefully you get the main idea. Nashville is a very special place, requiring people with both special qualifications and special clearance level, though yours will do for your task.
The chief officer bends threateningly close to the camera.
I thought
Kingsley lowers his eyes and flips through some documents.
Only the driver.
Martin adjusts his glasses.
So, the task. Nashville base stopped transmitting and receiving signals yesterday evening. A reconnaissance group was sent out earlier today, but we haven't heard anything from them yet either.
The chief officer rubs his forehead.
Normally, I would never give this task to a newcomer.
He looks down at the documents again.
Furthermore, the group was lacking someone with your specialization. I thought the mission would be quite straightforward and didn't send any administrative personnel. Now I suspect the Nashville situation may be much more complicated.
Kingsley is looking into the camera once more.
Your task is to get to Nashville, figure out whatever's behind the communication problem, get in touch with the group, and work with them to solve the problem.
The chief officer carefully returns the documents to the folder. You notice Kingsley's hand reaches.
Hiya. Have a good.
The highway leading to C-12 Nashville is blocked by an anomalous storm, and you're forced to detour over a mountain pass. Clara lifts up the hood and thoroughly examines the steaming radiator.
The engine's boiling, so we'll have to wait. You do know what happens when a car boils, right? It's...
The Blue shuts her mouth abruptly and stares anxiously at the dark funnel cloud dancing on the horizon. Now that you're on higher, the Blue looks at the engine again.
We wait. As soon as it cools down, we'll go. This storm worries me more, but it's not an insurmountable problem. I heard there are some relics at the local gas station that protect against anomalies. You could even accidentally step on one out.
Your companion perks up a bit. She seems to be interested in this subject.
This place is registered as a resource anomaly zone. Do you know what that is? It's when the relics mined there have been studied and deemed...
The Blue looks at the storm once more.
There have been more and more of these lately, and they're getting stronger. I personally think it's...
She sighs and squirms.
I knew people who got caught in one of those storms. They blow up so fast, there's no chance to get away.
Morgan thinks for a moment.
It's a combination cafe gas station called Roadside Picnic.
Good day to you. Come back again.
I'm thinking about that purse with glass beads. It's a shame I didn't find it.
Do not attach yourself to earthly things. You must rise.
Who the hell goes there? Come on in, since you're already here.
That's my way of rising above market law. Or do you think it's right? Glad to meet you.
Bye-bye.
Why should we depend on rational knowledge? Reason leads us up a blind alley over and over again. There are only two.
Hello?
Come back again.
Well,
Greetings. Have a good one.
Oh, hello there. I hope to see you again soon.
Clara briefly looks up from poking around the engine.
So, how's this?
The blue unscrews a nozzle from under the block. The woman distracts her. She stares past you into the distance, her face radiant. Clara fixes her gaze on you.
You see?
She falls silent, but can barely contain her excitement. You see doubt in Blue's eyes.
I don't know.
Clara looks. She wipes her hands with a rag draped over.
Listen, Rabbi, that dust storm? Am I hallucinating, or is it really sort of weird?
Do you remember what Joker Jones wrote in his latest track? The strangeness of existence is but a measure of our ignorance.
Uh-huh.
Hello?
Clara briefly looks up from poking around the engine.